Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Today I'd like to direct your attention to the public docket in the matter styled as State of Idaho versus Brian C. Koberger for May 19th, 2023. And if you do, you will see that there are, at least as of the date of the recording of this episode, which is June 29th, 2024, 8 separate filings for May 19th of 2023. Now, we're not going to go over all of them, but I would like to point out some information to you regarding a few. One is a motion to unseal the grand jury materials, not publicly, not to the world at large, but simply to the parties and certain other individuals that are associated with the parties. And the parties, of course, is the state of Idaho, the plaintiff, and Mr. Koberger, the defendant. And the reasons and the grounds and the names of any additional individuals are listed in that motion. Another item that's docketed May 19th, 2023 is a notice to the public that there is to be no recording of any of the hearings, that there's no cameras that are allowed in the courtroom, and that also states that the judge recognizes that there are certain family members of Mr. Koberger who live many miles away in Pennsylvania from Moscow. There are certain family members of the victims that may be closer, but it may be inconvenient for them to drive to Moscow for these proceedings. And even so, the courtroom and the courthouse itself in Latah County is not Los Angeles County. It's a small courthouse. It's a small courtroom. There's limited seating. So what the judge is doing here is allowing family members of victims, family members of Mr. Koberger who want to watch and listen to the proceedings to do so via Zoom. That is a virtual platform. There's information here, login information to the hearings that's provided, but it is redacted publicly. The thought is that it's being provided in some other way to the victim's family members and to Mr. Koberger's family members, but not everyone, so that there are not 150,000 individuals that may be signing into this very, very high profile case at one time. It is just the family members of the victims and of Mr. Koberger. And one more item of the 8 is a notice of hearing for motions that is scheduled to occur as of this notice of hearing, May 22nd, 2023. You'll recall that when we talked about the fact that Mr. Koberger was indicted, that there were still pending motions before the prior court that still needed to be resolved. And then finally, there's also an order setting a deadline for Mr. Koberger, for the defendant, to get pretrial motions into the judge. What's a pretrial motion? This is a matter, a legal matter that needs to be resolved before trial, that needs to come before the court on a motion. Remember, a motion is an application for an order. So Judge has now set a deadline for any and all pre-trial motions that Mr. Koberger wishes to set before the court. Those motions need to be filed within the time frame set forth in this order. If you'd like to look at these documents, I have provided a link to where you can do so within the description to this and all of the podcast episodes in this series. My name is Kathy. Thank you very much for joining us today.